If you live or work in Cheshire West and Chester, then you need to listen up, because the future of your community is literally being mapped out right now. The council has just launched a consultation for a new local plan, and this document is going to dictate all development for the next 15 years. Believe me, it's a huge deal. So let's break down exactly what you need to know.
So here's what we're going to get into. First, why do we even need a new plan right now? Second, we'll look at the sheer scale of the growth that's being required. Then we'll dive into the three very different choices on the table for the future, what that might mean for the key towns across the borough, and finally, we'll look at some of the other crucial policies on climate and community that are also up for discussion.
All right, first things first, let's set the stage. Why is all this happening now? And what on earth is a local plan anyway?
So what is a local plan? Well, put simply, every single council is legally required to have one. Think of it as the official rule book for the area. It decides what gets built and where. It covers everything: new homes, business parks, roads, green spaces, you name it. And because the world changes, these plans have to be reviewed at least every 5 years to make sure they're still fit for purpose.
Now, you've got to understand, this is a long game. As you can see from this timeline, we are right at the very beginning, what's called the issues and options stage. This is the moment where the big, bold ideas are first put on the table. The final plan won't be locked in until 2027, which means that right now is the most important time to get to grips with the choices and make your voice heard.
Okay, now let's get to the heart of the matter. The absolute core challenge that's driving this entire process. The incredible scale of development the area is being told it has to plan for.
Here it is. This is the number that changes everything. Based on a standard formula from the government, the council must, and I really want to stress that word, must, plan for a minimum of 1,914 new homes every single year. This isn't a number the council has just picked out of a hat, it's a legal requirement they have to meet.
And to put that into perspective, take a look at this. The current plan is based on a target of about 1,100 homes a year. The new requirement of nearly 2,000 is a massive jump. Over the full 15 years of the plan, that adds up to more than 28,700 new homes that all need to find a place somewhere in the borough.
And of course, it's not just about where we all live, it's about where we work too. The plan also has to find space for almost 10 hectares of new employment land every year. That's absolutely vital for bringing new jobs and investment into the area, especially for industry and logistics.
So that brings us to the million-dollar question in this whole consultation. With these huge targets for homes and jobs, where do you put it all? The council has put forward three very different ideas.
Now, these strategies can get a bit complex, so to really get our heads around them, let's use a simple analogy. Just imagine you're packing a suitcase for a long trip.
But here's the catch. You've just been told you need to pack way more stuff than you normally would. That's our 28,700 new homes, and all that employment land we just talked about.
So the fundamental question is, where does it all go? The council is basically asking all of us to consider three completely different ways to pack this very full suitcase.
Okay, let's look at option A. This is all about protecting the green belt at any cost. So in our analogy, the green belt, that protected land around our towns, that's the main compartment of your suitcase. This option means you refuse to open it. Instead, you try and cram everything into the little side pockets. In the real world, those side pockets are the areas outside the green belt, like south of Northwich and west of Winsford. It means those areas would have to take a huge amount of concentrated development.
Next up is option B. This one says, let's just stick with the current strategy and spread development around the main towns like we do now. In our analogy, this is like packing the suitcase evenly, just like you always do. But because you have so much extra stuff this time, you quickly realize it's not all going to fit. You have to unzip that expandable section to make the whole suitcase bigger. And in planning terms, making the suitcase bigger means you have to release greenbelt land around all the main towns.
And finally, there's option C, which is a totally different way of thinking. This option focuses new development only in places that have the best public transport, so along the railway lines and the main bus routes. In our suitcase analogy, this is like deciding to pack your things only where the suitcase has straps and handles, distributing the load along its strongest structural points. It's a radical idea that would really change how the borough develops. And, maybe surprisingly, this one would actually require the most greenbelt land to be released.
So those are the big picture choices. But what does all this actually mean on the ground for you and me? Let's zoom in and see how this could impact the borough's main towns, because each one has its own unique set of priorities.
You know, every town has its own story here. For historic Chester, the big puzzle is how to grow without harming its unique character.
Over in Ellesmereport, the future is all about powering up industrial growth while making that big shift to a low-carbon economy. And for both Northwich and Winsford, the plan needs to champion the huge regeneration projects that are already underway in their town centers.
But look, this local plan is about so much more than just drawing lines on a map to decide where we build. It's also the rulebook for how we build, and that has massive implications for our environment and our communities.
A massive part of this new plan is a direct response to the climate emergency. And honestly, the proposals are pretty ambitious. They're looking at everything from requiring solar panels and EV charging points on all new buildings to boosting biodiversity across the board. If these policies are adopted, they would set a much, much higher environmental standard for every single new development in the area.
And on the community side, the plan gets into some really important and sometimes sensitive issues. It raises the bar for any development on the Greenbelt, saying it can only happen in exceptional circumstances. It also has to tackle those tough questions about delivering more affordable housing, providing sites for gypsy and traveler communities, and really shifting our transport focus to favor walking, cycling, and public transport over the car.
So if you take one thing away today, let it be this: nothing is decided yet. This whole document is designed to be a conversation starter. The council is putting these huge, challenging options out there, and they're genuinely asking for your feedback on which path they should take.
And making your voice heard is actually pretty straightforward. All of the documents are up on the council's website. You can submit your comments through their online portal, or you can do it by email or even by post. The key thing is to get involved and help influence the final strategy.
Ultimately, it all boils down to this one simple question. Should the borough concentrate its growth to save the Greenbelt? Should it expand its towns outwards? Or should it completely reshape itself around public transport? The answer will define Cheshire West and Chester for a generation. The choice is complex, for sure, but this is your first and your best chance to have a real say.